what an absolute honour and privilege it has been to serve in this role over the past year. Before we begin the council meeting, it is customary for the Mayor to give an overview of highlights in the civic calendar. It was fantastic to attend the Sports Awards at the Hilton at the Aegeus Bowl recently. The 2020 awards were cancelled due to coronavirus restrictions, so the latest event was a bumper 2-year celebration. Top-level athletes, teams, coaches, schools, projects, and the people behind the scenes who make it all happen were in the spotlight. 2 new categories of innovation and health and well-being recognised the absolute amazing and creative efforts during the pandemic. It was a wonderful evening, and congratulations to all the winners and all those who were nominated. Last Saturday, I attended the Eastleigh Gurkha and Nepalese annual day out. It was an unforgettable occasion, remembering the fallen at the Gurkha Memorial and also celebrating the wonderful culture of Nepal in the afternoon. It was a joyous event, and the food, singing and dancing were incredible. As I reflect on my year as Mayor, it is quite interesting to note that my first mayoral engagement was also with the association. There are many events being planned to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, and I know that my successor will be very busy attending them across the borough. One of these is a community showcase organised in partnership with One Community. It takes place on Saturday the 4th of June on the recreation ground and will showcase our excellent voluntary organisations and some of our talented community choirs and bands. Finally, we said a fond farewell to our outgoing Chief Executive, Nick Tustian, earlier this week, and it was wonderful to hear the heartfelt tributes to him after 22 years at the Council. I'd like to welcome his successor, James Strawn, who joins us from Southampton City Council, and I wish you, James, every success in your new role. Ladies and gentlemen, there will now be a minute's silence in memory of those friends and colleagues that we sadly lost during my mayoral year. Please remain seated as we remember Colin Davidowitz, former Borough and County Councillor, Judith Can, former Borough Councillor, and David Chidgey, the former MP for the Eastleigh constituency. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank our retiring councillors, Councillor David Airy, Maggie Allingham, Daniel Clark, Judith Grajewski, Lucy Jerd and Rob Rushton. We thank you all for your service to Eastleigh Borough Council. A special mention to David Airy, who has been representing the residents of Netley for a total of 34 years and We must also mention Tina Campbell, who wasn't re-elected as a Borough Council. Tina, we thank you for your service to the residents of the Borough. And now please stand as I call out your names. Cameron Spencer for Eastleigh Central. Welcome, Cameron. Stephen Beer for Eastleigh North. Welcome, Stephen. Nicholas Caldry for Fair Oak and Horton Heath. Welcome, Nick. Liz Jarvis for Hamble and Netley. Welcome, Liz. Lee Hadaway for Hedge End North. Welcome, Lee. Jane Welsh for Hedge End South. Welcome, Jane. And Maud Attrell for Hiltonbury. Thank you very much. And I think at this stage we should give you all a round of applause for the Borough of Eastleigh. The award was conferred at mayor making on the 20th of May 2021 to Namal Persia. As you can imagine, Nim's schedule is extremely busy and he is often out of the country. At the moment, I believe he is halfway up Mount Everest. We were able to present him with his Freedom of the Borough Award in March whilst he was in Eastleigh. We will now watch a short introduction and the presentation. For those of you who have not seen his Netflix documentary, 14 Peaks, I would highly recommend you to watch it to see his amazing achievements. Thank you.
I would like to welcome you all here this afternoon to confer the Honorary Freedom of the Borough on Namal Persia. The Honorary Freedom is the highest honour which the Council can bestow. Its origin goes back to medieval times when there emerged a class of citizens known as freemen. They enjoyed important privileges in the government of their town. Each borough admitted freemen according to its own custom. Historical privileges usually included the right of voting at a parliamentary election, exemption from tolls and dues, and the profitable right of sharing in common property. The freedom is an honour that can only be bestowed by boroughs and is one of the few remaining distinctions between a borough and a district council. Today, we will be granting the freedom of the borough to Namal Persia, who is the 17th recipient of this honour. It is no exaggeration to call Namal, Nims, superhuman. Your record-breaking achievements are inspirational. Project Possible was a truly extraordinary achievement. 14 peaks in 6 months and 6 days, as well as breaking 6 mountaineering world records in some of the most inhospitable conditions. Having watched the documentary 14 Peaks, and I would highly recommend it, it is quite amazing to witness your inner strength and determination to succeed. But it is also a great example of teamwork, inspiring others to continue when they were considering giving up and bringing joy and laughter to the base camp. Your courage and bravery, care and compassion for your fellow man is quite remarkable. Risking your own life to save mountaineers stuck on the mountain without a thought for your own safety. In the military, as a former Gurkha, and the first Gurkha to be chosen as a member of the Special Boat Service, you said you would never leave anyone behind. And so this has continued to be the case. You are always the first person to help anyone in difficulty. Family is very important in your life, and sharing your success with your late mother meant so much to you. And please accept my condolences to you and your family on her passing. Having spoken with your brother Kamal, I know how proud he is of you and your achievements. We couldn't fail to mention your wife Suchi, who has always been there supporting you. You truly are an inspiration and will continue to inspire many people. As you say, nothing is impossible, and you would like to inspire the world. We are immensely proud of you, and it is my honour and privilege to present you, Namal Persia MBE, with the highest honour that this council can bestow, the freedom of the Borough of Eastleigh. I will now read the resolution of the Council on the 20th of May 2021, conferring the honorary freedom of the Borough upon Namal Persia. In pursuance of Section 249 of the Local Government Act 1972, Namal Persia be admitted as an honorary freeman of the Borough of Eastleigh in recognition of his outstanding contribution to high altitude mountaineering and ongoing charity work. I will now invite Namal to sign the Roll of Freedom. Thank you. I will now present Namal Persia with a framed commemorative scroll and badge. Right, so here we have the scroll.
Is there any chance?
With Everest.
Wow.
That's why we want you to take it up Everest the next time you go.
Mayor, Eastleigh Borough Council, and everybody who is here today. Life is probably more than 200 miles per hour right now. Really, very fast pace. But to slow down right here today and to do it, what I said earlier, with our own family members, because this is my home, is actually really, I would say not only humbling, but also equally very pleasant. I really feel, this is home. I would like to thank the whole of the Eastleigh Borough Council and Mayor for being very supportive to our fellow Gurkha community over here and the Nepalese community here. Wherever I go, I always, believe in loyalty. And as a Gurkhas, we have served with the British Crown and countries for more than 26 years. There's no one in the planet as brave, not only brave, but as equally loyal. And those people who can give everything for the Crown, Queen, and our friends from the United Kingdom. As I said before, yes, the life is busy, everything is kicking off, but I really feel honored to be here with everybody out here today, because as I said, this is my home. Once again, from really bottom of my heart, I would like to say thank you all for having me today and honoring me with the biggest award, the Borough can do that. For me, as I always have said that, the award is big or small, it doesn't matter, but it's from your heart, right? It's the appreciation that what it matters, and I felt that energy from this team today, and certainly from the cyclists we have over there. Thank you so much.
Do your very best.
Yes.
Will you go next and where do you make your introductions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for those of us who were there that afternoon, I have to say, and I think you'll all agree with me, what an absolutely amazing and wonderful chap he is. And I'm really pleased that we have his brother Kamal here with us this evening. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Right, we now move on to item 5, election of mayor. We will now proceed to the election of mayor, and I invite Councillor Malcolm Cross propose a nomination of mayor for the municipal year 2022-2023. Thank you, Councillor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, honoured guests. It is my privilege to propose Councillor Adam Manning to be Mayor this year for 2022 to 2023. I have known Adam since his election in 2018. Adam is a local lad born in Southampton and lived in Netley. He went to Netley Infant School and then to the Junior School and Hamble Comprehensive School. When at school, he studied usual things and unusual things such as dinosaurs, Doctor Who and space exploration in his spare time. I often wondered where he gets his liking for quoting from classics on Facebook and in emails too. I guess that comes from studying Latin at college and then his law studies at college as well. His career to date seems somewhat influenced by TV series such as Crown Court, LA Law, and perhaps they have encouraged him in his choice of many suits and amazing hats. Indeed, you might sometimes wonder if he was Captain Mainwaring or Private Walker from Dad's Army with the variety of hats and suits. One of his interests is that he is the chairman of Friends of Western Shore, a group of volunteers who look after the beach in Southampton. Over the previous years, he has dressed as a pirate to encourage the children to take part. He left Hampshire to study law at Bristol University and then Southampton University to do his master's degree. It was shortly after he met his future wife Alison at the Frog and Frigate public house in Southampton. Brackets. She was dancing on the table at the time. They were married in 2000. After a lot of work, Adam was able to get his job as a lawyer for a firm in Eastleigh. He is now associate and senior solicitor with a well-established firm. Well, the chain gang will not know what has hit them this year. The chain gang is assembly of mayors, thus the chain gang, not the type of chain gang in America digging holes. Adam is a devoted person to his family and the residents of the peninsula. He will continue to do this no matter and with full commitment. All I can say, Adam, have a good year and enjoy the ride. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cross. I will now invite Councillor Steve Holes to second the nomination. Councillor Holes, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, before I give my speech, I actually want to share with you what we in BHH have to put up with all the time from a certain gentleman. I sent him an email following him giving us some information on what we could use for these speeches. I asked him if he could tell me what his age was, because I was trying to establish whether he was younger than Rupert. He isn't. His reply was simply this. Hi Steve, I was born at a very young age on the 18th of September 1970. This was just as well, because otherwise I would have missed out on all the presents. Hope this helps, Adam. Good luck, ladies and gentlemen. That's the sort of emails you're likely to get. Sorry. Adam Manning, aka the Doctor. But more of that a little bit later. We have already heard from Malcolm about Adam's voluntary work with Friends of Western Shore, as well as his early life. An impressive and colourful wardrobe of suits, waistcoats, ties, hats and scarves. Or building and selling computer games as a teenager, playing and creating scenery for Dungeons and Dragons games, or watching his favourite sci-fi films and TV shows, Adam is at the front of the queue. His enthusiasm for all things related to Doctor Who, including the making of a Doctor Who fan film entitled Doctor Who and the Tyranny of the Daleks, was filmed at Netley Abbey of all places. It's clear for all to see that he has this fantastic enthusiasm for all things. I believe we are now up to number 14 of the Doctor Who's. I think Adam would make an excellent number 15. I don't know what you feel. However, for now, all the universities, known and unknown, are missing out to Eastleigh. Of course, like a superhero needs a sidekick, and every Time Lord needs a companion, every mayor needs an escort, and I am sure that Adam and Alison, ably supported by Felix, their daughter, will make a great team. When asking for some guidance from Adam on material for our speeches, Adam fondly recalls some of the great times that the family enjoyed with their son Ben. It is only right that we should remember tonight that during Adam's year as deputy mayor, Ben, who spent his short life battling illness and adversity, sadly lost his life battle. Reading the words that Adam provided for us, Ben clearly had a great sense of humour. I'm sure if he'd been here tonight, Ben would have actually found it funny that his dad had found another costume to wear. Of course, with his dress sense, verbal eloquence and desire to volunteer and willingness to help do things for other people, Adam was a perfect fit to be mayor, and I am delighted to second the nomination that Councillor Adam Manning be invested as mayor of Eastleigh for 2022-23.
Thank you very much, Councillor Holes. Does any other member wish to speak, please? Councillor Craig. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wasn't going to miss this opportunity, actually, after visiting Adam at home. But before I had a chance to do that, Adam sent some notes out. And just one thing that I wanted to pick up on. Adam had said that he was Borough Councillor for the ward of Hamble and Netley, which meant he worked alongside the legends that were Malcolm Cross and David Airy. Just like to remind him that he missed my name off, and sort of hope that it was just an oversight, Adam. Some of this might be repeated, because as I say, I've picked up some of the notes and we haven't had a chance to all get together. But Adam was born to Ben and the late Janet. Ben is with us this evening and is very proud. He has 3 brothers, Virgil, Simon and Lawrence, and 1 sister, Rachel, and it's lovely that Lawrence and Rachel can join us too this evening. I first met Adam in 2018 when he stood for the first time for the ward of Hamble and Netley. I remember the first canvas session that Adam joined us, this very enthusiastic, energetic candidate who was quickly nicknamed the Puppy. He bounded up to doors, talking to the residents, and ran back very quickly for the next door to knock. This was mainly plain sailing, but all too quickly the cracks started to appear. When given a name and address of a certain property, Adam asked if he could have a different address because he knew the lady of the house. This happened a few times, and it quickly became apparent that some of these females were indeed ex-girlfriends from his early years. Now, talking of his early years, I just wanted to touch on, and I have spoken to both Adam and Alison, so this is okay to actually bring this one out of the back. He's touched on his first kiss. In the early 80s, Adam and some of his friends took themselves to the cinema to watch BMX Bandits. His attention was soon caught by a nice young lady that he thought he'd try his luck with. He sidled up and had a chat, decided to yawn, stretch, slip his arm round her shoulder. As there was no objection to this, Adam decided he'd watched enough romantic movies to put the first kiss into action. He duly snuggled up closer, closed his eyes, and went in for that romantic encounter, connecting and staying glued to her nose. Sadly, it proved to be a one-off meeting with this said female, and it was a while before he tried his luck again. One of the next encounters was with a female that was much more successful. It saw Adam being given a £10 HMV voucher for his efforts. He must have improved his technique. The meek and mild Councillor Manning has not always been so, and has indeed had a wild streak to him. The wild streak once saw him on report for 3 weeks at college. It appears that when a band visited the college to perform, he thought it'd be a good idea to climb into their trailer using it as a coffin, and in the process cause damage. As we know, Adam has a thing for dressing up and is often seen in costume as a pirate whilst collecting litter around the coast and countryside. Adam's claim to fame was once meeting Zoe Ball whilst dressed as a panda. She was as happy to see him as he her, and received an unforgettable cuddle, one that he was very keen to tell me about so that everybody knows he had a cuddle with Zoe.
Okay then, right. So, all those in favour of the election of Councillor Adam Manning as Mayor for the ensuing year, please show. Thank you very much, James. So I declare that Councillor Adam Manning to be elected Mayor of the Borough of Eastleigh for the municipal year 2022-2023 and until acceptance of his office by his successor. Thank you.
We'll wait and see if it comes back in the mayor's words or as a spaceman.
Please be seated.
I invite the Mayor to read out and sign the mayoral declaration of acceptance of office.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me all right? I, Adam Manning, elected to the office of Mayor of Eastleigh Borough Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code as to the conduct which is expected of members of Eastleigh Borough Council. Oh, yeah. I now ask Councillor Derek Pretty to invest Alison Manning with the Mayoress's badge. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to my councillors for placing such confidence and trust in me and electing me to this office. I'm also particularly grateful to the introduction from Councillors Cross, Holes and Craig. Very grateful for your kind words, and I must say that of all the introductions I've ever received, that was by far the most recent. Ladies and gentlemen, I should try and keep it brief. Please bear with me as I'm very unaccustomed to public speaking. My speech is basically a lot of thank yous, if you please. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to begin by paying tribute to Cynthia Garton, our mayor until only a few minutes ago. Cynthia, as we all know, has been a superb mayor for Eastleigh with her unceasing hard work and energy, her natural charm and her kindness. She has set a very high bar for all of us who are lucky enough to follow in her footsteps. As with our now almost legendary two-term former mayor, Darshan Mann, while Cynthia has been mayor, all of us have been struggling with the coronavirus pandemic, and we have been lucky to have in Cynthia a mayor who has reigned so gloriously and serenely through it all. Cynthia, your time as mayor is an inspiration. Thank you. Talking about the pandemic, I would like to pay tribute to all the people of Eastleigh and what we've been through together. We've all been through so very much. As mayor, I wish to thank the people of Eastleigh for all the fortitude, patience and kindness they have shown during such a testing time. And whilst it is always an honour to serve the people, it is never more so at a time of such a crisis. I know that as a council, regardless of which political grouping we might belong to, my fellow councillors have been working hard in any way they can. My experience of all my fellow councillors, whichever group they may belong to, is that whilst we may not agree from time to time, and there might be important differences of belief, it is clear to me that all my fellow councillors care passionately about our borough of Eastleigh and the people that we are honoured to serve. Speaking of our fellow councillors, I would like to mention my former guide and guru, none other than my hero, Councillor David Airy, or Mr. Airy, as we shall have to get used to calling him. He stepped down from being a councillor here at Eastleigh after an astonishing 34 years as a councillor. Ladies and gentlemen, there are councillors here at Eastleigh Borough Council here today who weren't even born when David Airey started with the council, Cameron Spencer. We have been so lucky to have someone so committed, so dedicated in a public service as him, an utterly invaluable and unforgettable contribution. A round of applause, please, to Mr. David Airey. David has been of the greatest help to me in my time with council, and I'll always be so very grateful to him. Thank you, David. I would also like to thank the officers at the council and to welcome in particular our new Chief Executive, James Straw. I know James is excited about his new role, and I'm looking forward to working with him in the months to come. Thank you to also the officers at the council who work so hard, often behind the scenes, to make everything happen. In particular, I wish to thank Debbie Bourne from the Mayor's Office for being so kind and patient with me. Your help is always greatly appreciated, Debbie, and I enjoy working with you. Ladies and gentlemen, Eastleigh has always been an important part of my life, as Councillor Cross and Councillor Holtz and Councillor Craig alluded to earlier. Some of my earliest memories, in fact, are going to see my nan and granddad. They had a caravan in a caravan park here in Eastleigh when I was growing up, in that long-lost era, many years ago, of the 1970s. My mum would pack my siblings and I onto the train at Netley Station. We'd have to change at Southampton, and I distinctly remember walking over the bridge and then us having to get a taxi to their caravan. It's one of those really early memories that seared into your mind. Very happy memories. But of course, this was the 1970s, so everybody was in flares with massive sideburns, and that was just the ladies. Talking of ladies, I now wish to turn to her ladyship, Madam Mayoress Alison Manning is, like me, a former student of a college here in Eastleigh. My wonderful wife, ladies and gentlemen, everyone knows her, will know that she is kind and caring. She deserves a good husband, so thank goodness I married her before she found one. Now, you've heard about my son Benjamin, ladies and gentlemen, and what we've been through as a family, and the lessons of looking after a child with such serious medical issues, and of the fragility of life and the finality of death. I would like to thank our wonderful NHS, which provided such fantastic care at every step of the way. Even if after our son had lost his life earlier this year, the staff at our NHS were still caring for us as a family and helping us cope. Our NHS is, to me, what puts the great into Great Britain, based as it is on the most powerful idea of all time. Wouldn't it be a jolly good idea if we all tried to help each other? Their dedication to service is so admirable and inspiring, and we as a family are so grateful. Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, is also a shining example of service to us all, and my year as Mayor will be taking in the joyous celebrations of her Platinum Jubilee, which has of course already commenced during Cynthia's mayoral year. Madam Mayoress and I have long been booked out over the Jubilee bank holiday already, and I know it's going to be a very exciting time, and I can't wait for us to be part of the celebrations. I'm especially looking forward to the celebrations on Thursday, the 2nd of June, at Hound Parish Hall, in my home parish of Hound. I don't know if we have any Hound Parish homies here this evening. There we are, straight out of Hound Parish, as we like to say. So you're all very welcome to that on the 2nd of June. During my mayoral year, I plan to have a theme of shining a light on the issue of poverty and inequality in our borough, and I know that some of the officers in the council are keen on that idea. One striking thing that you see when walking around our borough is that you can walk along streets with beautiful big houses and then walk down the road around the corner into places of real deprivation. In my view, no one can truly be called rich when others are suffering. This is something I would like to focus on. To that end, I have chosen two charities with that in mind. The first is the Royal British Legion. To me, those who serve in our armed forces can be called upon to make the greatest sacrifices there is, to lose their lives or be wounded in the service of our country. We must remember their sacrifices and do what we can to help our veterans, who often face serious poverty after leaving the services. The second charity is Ronald McDonald House. This is a wonderful charity that provides accommodation for families that is very dear to our hearts as a family, and they can help families who would otherwise face serious financial difficulties when their children need to stay in hospital, often far away from home. And I know that we have representatives of both charities here. I've already seen my friend Sarah Jane from Royal McDonald House. So wonderful to see you, and thanks for coming on this evening. I'm looking forward to learning more about how we can help. I am humbled and honoured to have become Mayor. Thank you for sharing this occasion with my wife and I on what is an extraordinary day for us. You have been very kind, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for listening. Thank you. Right, we will now proceed to the vote of thanks, and I invite Councillor Keithhouse to move the vote of thanks to the retiring Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Let me be one of the most recent anyway, to congratulate you on your elevation to mayoralty. And you do look a bit like a pirate, actually, so it fits with your costume style.
You can pay.
I know I will. But I will just briefly give a couple of extra facts about Adam, just for the record. One of which he did make a point mention. He is the first mayor from Netley for 32 years. Peter Hagley was the mayor in 1990 and 1991. The second, much more interesting fact is that Adam Manning has more Twitter followers than all 43 mayors in total that have gone before him. Mr. Mayor. So, mayors always end their year by saying how quickly the year has gone. And I'm sure that's true for Cynthia, as any mayor, but at least Cynthia had 2 years as deputy mayor as a leader. Every mayor is different, and every mayor handles the different parts of the role in their own way. At full council, we've seen a Cynthia that is firm but fair, gives everyone their say, but equally won't put up with any nonsense. I think we've been pretty well behaved colleagues over the course of the last year, so we haven't had to see the firm side of Cynthia along the way. And given that Cynthia had the extra experience of standing in for Darsham for the marathon airport planning meeting while she was deputy mayor, she had a good lead into that and managed that on Microsoft Teams as well, which was a pretty good record. What we don't see in our council meetings is the warmth and the humour of Cynthia that she's managed to display. See, just look at that smile. Everyone, just look at that smile. The warmth and the humour of Cynthia that we see around the borough for the rest of the year. And indeed, it's the key part of the role of the mayor out in our community all through the year. There are lots of events that stand out. Cynthia's no doubt going to tell us about some of them. I hope I'm not duplicating what she's going to say. But two that stand out to me were about meeting inspiring sports people. Now, we've already seen Nim's Persia on the video, and that was a remarkable event for a remarkable man who was so humble and down to earth and funny too, and a normal bloke who'd done extraordinary things. But the second was our Olympic bocce gold medalist Dave Smith, who equally had the same level of warmth and humour that just blew people away. A truly inspiring individual. And they're the kind of people that just sum up the people of Eastleigh. It's one thing that every mayor says, it's the people of Eastleigh that they celebrate most in their year of mayoralty. Media suites at the Hilton Hotel, overlooking the Aegeus Bowl, so no cricket was being played, where Cynthia had to cope with a fire alarm just as the main course was being served. Well, that really wasn't cricket. Cynthia, oh, that was meant to be a groan there. Cynthia told me last year as I was preparing her notes for her speech proposing her as mayor, that one of her inspirational characters in her history that first got her thinking about local councils was a Havant councillor called Betty Bell. Betty and her team protested against council plans to charge sixpence to enter Lee Park Gardens, which is now called the Staunton Country Park. Betty got arrested for her escapade. Fortunately, Cynthia hasn't had that trauma over the course of the last year, but I'm sure that if roles were reversed for Cynthia, Betty would have been inspired by Cynthia's mayoral year, just as Cynthia was inspired by Betty all those years ago. So, Mr. Mayor, I move the motion that the best thanks of this council be extended to Cynthia Garland and Derek Pretty for the admirable way in which they carried out their duties as mayor and mayor's escort during the last year. Mr. Mayor, I move.
Thank you very much, Councillor House. I now invite Councillor Jane Welsh to second the vote of thanks.
Allow me to say a few words of thanks on behalf of our own councillor, Cynthia Garton, our outgoing mayor. I'm sure that when she was proposed last year on this great honour, We knew that she would do the job perfectly, and this she has done, showing great friendship, great esteem, and with great respect on behalf of the whole of the Borough of Eastleigh. Well, she has certainly proved all of these things, so we thank you very much, Cynthia. I was very privileged to accompany you on a couple of occasions, and it was so nice to see the warmth of your welcome to all you met, whether it was within our borough or visiting our Hampshire areas. I know, Cynthia, you'll be feeling very bit sad tonight, but just think of the positive side. Not having to get up each morning, knowing you have to be on your best behaviour. Not that you are not ever misbehaving. Now getting back to your normal life, relaxing when you can, and going over all your accomplishments with your happy memories of the last year. Before I finish, I feel I ought to say a big thank you to Councillor Derek Pretty, her partner, for being such a good escort. It must have been quite a difficult sometimes for him, because he was a past mayor himself, and he had to always remember to be one step behind. But I'm sure Cynthia coped with that admirably. Therefore, Mr Mayor, I am delighted to second Councillor House's vote of thanks to Councillor Cynthia Garton on her most successful year as the Mayor of the Borough of Eastleigh. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Welsh. Does anyone else wish to speak on the motion? In that case, ladies and gentlemen, I put the motion that the best thanks of this council be extended to Cynthia Garton and Derek Pretty for the admirable way in which they have carried out their duties of Mayor and Mayor's escort during the last year. All those in favour, please show. Well, I think that's unanimous, Mr Mayor. Thank you. Councillor Garton, you appear to be washing your face in happy tears, so please, I invite you to reply.
Right, let's try again. Thank you very much, Mr Mayor, and thank you, Keith and Jane, for your very warm words. Goodness me, right, sorry, if you'll excuse me. And may I congratulate you, Mr Mayor, and our Mayoress on your election this evening, and I'm certain you're going to have an absolutely amazing year. My goodness me, where do I start on what has been a truly wonderful year? One of the best of my life, if not the best. I've learned about some of the history of Eastleigh. During the Second World War, many cities and towns adopted a warship, and the whole community raised money for that ship. The HMS Lochfader was adopted by Eastleigh, and this year was invited to their association dinner, which happened to be in our part of the country. It was a wonderful evening, meeting some of the crew who served on the ship between 1944 and 1964. They have never forgotten their link with Eastleigh and are still very proud of that association. And I am so pleased that a former member of the crew is with us this evening. And sir, you are most welcome in our borough. Being Mayor has given me a glimpse into the whole of our borough and the many groups and organisations that make it what it is. The year started quite slowly, coming out of COVID, as restrictions, which we all had to keep to, were just starting to be lifted, and quite a few appointments and visits were cancelled. Gradually, physical events and in-person meetings started to appear, and so it progressed quite nicely. I also presented insignia and certificates to 3 of our newest Citizens of Honour, Melanie Phillips, Pat Statham and Stan Newell. It was a real privilege to meet them and hear all about the work that they have undertaken in our community. I was given the honour of opening the new Deer Park School in Hedge End, another great school run by the Wilden Academy Trust. The Trust provides not only an excellent education for our young people, but also provides many activities and supports the community as well. Presenting citizen certificates to Fair Oak Infant School. We are very fortunate to have such great teachers and schools within our borough. Opening 2 excellent nurseries and meeting preschool children who ask the most brilliant questions. "Are you the Queen?" asked a small boy. "Not exactly," I answered. Then he said, "You must be the Queen of Eastleigh." Well, then who was I to argue? Attended shows and musical events with local performers who put their heart and soul into the productions. I have to say there is nothing quite like amateur dramatics and the joy it brings to audiences. Planting trees, which I look forward to revisiting and watching them grow. I have spoken with so many of our residents and listened to their stories. Some make you laugh and others make you cry, but they have all touched my heart. Meeting such amazing people who volunteer to give up their time to help and support the vulnerable, elderly and young people. They are all wonderful, but if I may, I would just like to mention a few. The Veterans Breakfast Club, where I had the privilege of meeting and speaking. You're doing an amazing job organising the events and the Poppy Appeal in Eastleigh Town. Vilma, who works for Brendan Care, organising the many clubs and classes for our elderly folk. They now have an allotment which I opened, and on my second visit, they got planting herbs, who are very much part of our community. My first engagement was to visit their farm at Highbridge. This initiative was to plant and provide food for themselves, but also for the community too. It has been a joy to experience their hospitality culture, and both myself and the then Mayor of Southampton were up dancing at their special event on Saturday, so thank you very much, Kamal. Our frontline workers, NHS, police and fire service, and may I just give my personal thanks, Mr Mayor, to Dr Bates, Kaylee Wavell and all the team at Southampton General Hospital who have supported me over the many months. The consultant said he had never seen a mayoral chain before, so I took it in to show him, and I think he was quite impressed. My thanks to One Community, Age Concern, Citizens Advice, all playing your part in supporting our community. Eastleigh Rotary and Eastleigh Lions. I have signed and handed out many local hero certificates to so many of our wonderful volunteers who helped during the COVID lockdowns. They have helped in so many ways supporting those in need, and some still continue to do so. Sometimes thank you doesn't seem enough, but it is very heartfelt. I was at Chandlersford Help last night, presenting some of those local hero certificates to volunteers. It was interesting hearing how they went from a standing start to 700 initial volunteers and completed 7,000 tasks, even contacting businesses to provide laptops and other devices to enable children to carry on with their schoolwork from home, and my thanks to them all. This leads me quite nicely into some people I would also like to thank. The Chandlersford Help organisers all made a point of wanting to let me know how they appreciated and valued the support of this council and our. They are so grateful for your time and financial support, and they especially mentioned Dickon and Melvin. I should like to thank all our officers, just as Mr Mayor has done, who work at Eastleigh House, Direct Services team, Country Park teams, The Point and The Berry, everyone who has carried on working and supporting our residents. The Eastleigh Mayor, Eastleigh Pride and Eastleigh Unwrapped. My thanks especially to Marion and to those members of the team at Eastleigh who have supported me, assisting me through meetings and other events. There is one person in particular I would especially like to thank. The Mayor's office, which does sound quite impressive, is manned mainly by Debbie Bourne, who takes care of all the invitations, providing information on upcoming events, who we are going to meet, and if we have to do anything in particular. Debbie not only does this, but I have so very much appreciated her text, checking if I'm okay and if all is well. So Debbie, you are an absolute superstar, and I would very much like you to accept this small token of my thanks. I must thank Derek, the Mayor's escort and chief handbag holder, who has always been there to support me with a reassuring handhold or pointing me in the right direction. And I also include the stand-in Mayor's escort, Jane, and also Julia. My charity this year has been Mountbatten, Hampshire, and also a contribution to the Remembrance Avenue at Itchen Valley Country Park. Given the COVID restrictions, it has been quite difficult putting on events to raise money. However, I am really pleased to announce that we have raised £6,500. So, Mr. Mayor, I think you may have heard enough from me now. Even though I could say more, it's just really a potted version. I want to thank this council for putting your faith in me as Mayor and giving me the most wonderful opportunity. It has been incredible and has meant so much to me. I have been able to visit other areas in Hampshire and promote all the good things we do in Eastleigh. Despite what people may say in the media, I have had the opportunity and great pleasure to talk Eastleigh up, not down. I have to be honest, I will miss being Mayor, but have some great memories. So, Mr. Mayor, I'm just going to say finally, I am very proud of having been the Mayor. I am very proud of being a member of this council, and I am very proud of Eastleigh Borough and the people who live and volunteer within its boundaries and call this place home. Thank you.
Hurray.
Ladies and gentlemen, I described Cynthia Garton earlier this evening as an inspiration, and you can see how passionate she is about the role that she's been undertaking and our area as well. So thank you, Cynthia. I now have pleasure in presenting a past Mayor's badge to Cynthia Garton. Thank you. I now call on the Mayoress, Alison Manning, to present Derek Pretty with a past Mayor's escort badge. Item on the order of proceedings is the election of the Deputy Mayor. I invite Councillor Marsh to propose the nomination for the office of Deputy Mayor for the year 2022 and 2023. Councillor Marsh.
Thank you. I propose Councillor Caldry for the municipal year 2022-2023.
Thank you. I invite Councillor Tennant to second the nomination.
I second the nomination.
Thank you very much. Are there any other nominations, or does any other member wish to speak? In that case, ladies and gentlemen, all those in favour of the election of Councillor Nicholas Caldry as Deputy Mayor for the ensuing year, please show. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. I therefore have the very greatest pleasure in declaring Councillor Nicholas Caldry to be duly elected as Deputy Mayor of the Borough of Eastleigh for the municipal year 2022/2023 until acceptance of office by his successor. So, Mr. Councillor Caldry, would you care to approach the bench, please? Please could the Deputy Mayor assume the robes and badge of office.
I invite the Deputy Mayor to read out and sign the Declaration of Acceptance of Office.
I, Nicholas Caldry, elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of Eastleigh Borough Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code as to the conduct which is expected of members of Eastleigh Borough Council.